Hi besties, it's Lacey, founder and CEO of Real Women, Real Success. Welcome to this week's masterclass. This is the fifth video in a five-part series where I've been covering the 5 strengths that you, women, were born with that you can leverage for success. And this is the last one. We're going to be talking about bouncing back. And the whole premise of all of these strengths is that you as a woman were born with these strengths. They come naturally to you. And it just so happens that the world needs these strengths today. We need balance in our leadership, in our corporations, and our governments. Women are only 5% of CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. We're only 14% of government and agency leadership. And these strengths will help us change that tide, along with some other key elements that I talk about in my blog videos. So if you haven't visited realwomenrealsuccess.com or my YouTube channel, please do so. I've been sending out a masterclass or training video or information video every week since last August 2015. So there's a lot of content that I hope you'll find valuable. These strengths that I've been talking to you about have been published in this book. I became a published author in February, and I wrote about the 5 strengths that women possess that are also desperately needed in today's world. And I'd like to share with you how the skill set or strength of bouncing back comes naturally to women and why it's such a vital skill set in your success and can help you rise above the rest. It's a well documented fact that bouncing back from adversity is one of the top characteristics of people who are successful. And it's such an important characteristic that I already did a video on it. I did a video on bouncing back from adversity, but what I didn't talk about is how this comes naturally to you and how you should feel heartened because you've been bouncing back your entire life. And I'll give you some examples. First example is the childbirthing process. Whether you've had children or you haven't, just know that women were built, physically built, to be the nurturing gender. And as part of that process, we go through a lot of pain. Our bodies nearly double or triple in size around the middle. We gain a bunch of weight, in some cases 30% to 50% of our current weight while we're pregnant. We go through all kinds of contortions and squeezing of our internal organs just to produce this wonderful baby. And there's a variety of stories that you can hear about labor pains, from the easiest of labor pains to the most difficult, but certainly most oftentimes you're hearing about the pain that goes along with it and the struggle that goes with birthing a child. And when that is all said and done and we're completely exhausted, we take this new child into our arms and look at it with adoring eyes, and we say to ourselves, what is our next right move? How do we move into this bright future with this wonderful child that I just had? And in that moment, we have bounced back from adversity, from physical stresses, from emotional stresses, perhaps fear. I don't know about you, but I was very fearful giving birth to my first child, and that happens a lot. So that's an example of how we're hardwired to bounce back. But also think about some of your friends. Have you ever run into a friend who is fairly happy and, congenial and, hey, how are you? And she seems, fine. Maybe she's even bubbly. And after you get into the conversation over lunch, or maybe you've gone shopping together, or you're having a cup of coffee, you find out all the crazy stuff that your friend has been through, or perhaps this is you. Women are hardwired to bounce back from adversity. We had to go through suffrage in this country. We had to go through so many things where we endured all kinds of adversity and remained, I'm not even want to say calm, we remained having our sense of equanimity during all of that while we fought for a better place. That's bouncing back, looking at our next right move in the face of unideal circumstances. You were hardwired to do that. In this discussion, I want to acknowledge that in addition to this being an absolute imperative skill for all successful people, there are also those times in our lives where we need to grieve a loss or a failure. And there's steps to grieving, and they're there for a purpose because psychologically we need to go through that process. Hopefully, we learn to go through it quicker and quicker. Depending on the magnitude of the disappointment or failure, it may take a little bit longer, and I certainly understand that. In fact, I understand the need to vent. I think that's really important. I understand the need to cry. Sometimes crying is true sadness, sometimes it's just a tension release. Either way, sometimes when something bad happens, we have to allow ourselves the space to do that. And then it makes it easier to bounce back. The question becomes, are we one of those people that bounce back in hours, days, or weeks? Or does it take us months, years, or perhaps never? We've all had that friend that's had some failure or some unfortunate incident in their life, and years go by and they still haven't gotten over it. And here's where I will also share with you that I'm a huge fan of counseling and going through the process of getting help when we feel like it's a little bit tougher than what we can handle. I certainly have done that at various points in my life. I know plenty of people who have, and if there's any people out there that associate a stigma with that, I say come into the 21st century because we are all getting help in areas where we struggle a bit. And that is also valid because sometimes there's something from our past or something from our childhood that seems to have a hook in us and we need help getting rid of it. But that is also part of the bouncing back process, becoming whole process. There's one other scenario I want to share with you and completely acknowledge, and that is when we have a period of time that I would call either dark or unfortunate. At this particular point in time, we have the Great Recession in our recent history, so it isn't so hard to imagine a dark period of time that lasts a while. I understand too that sometimes life piles on. I certainly have had that experience myself. I've had friends who have experienced it. You can experience it younger in life. Sometimes it comes with age where you start to have aging parents that you're taking care of, and then there's an illness, and then there's something else that happens in the family, and maybe something happens with your job, or some other unfortunate thing happens with a friend, or some disappointment. Things pile on. Maybe we have some health issues ourselves. And I'll share with you that I had, it just ended about a year ago, what I would call a very difficult or dark time that started, it lasted about a couple years. And it started with my fiance and my house burning down. And then my mom had a stroke, and then her husband died, and then she had some other illness, and then I had an illness, and then I had some problems with some employees at work, and then my organization doubled in size, and then my fiance was having problems with some of his relatives, and then we had some issues with our kids, and it just seemed like life was piling on. Now, through all that, there were micro opportunities to bounce back. Through all that, there were opportunities to continue to try to see the light at the end of the tunnel, while taking those moments to grieve or to vent or cry. Very, very important. And I acknowledge that there are those time periods. But when we come out of those, it's time to really focus on the forward momentum and bouncing back. And when you're in one of those dark or unfortunate periods within your life, and you just know you're going through something that is going to end, you can do little things. One of the things that was also one of the things that piled on to me was that I gained a bunch of weight and I didn't know why, and I was so disheartened because I'd worked really hard for a very long time to have the kind of body that I could be proud of. And I exercised all the time. During this dark period, I didn't exercise because I just didn't have time. And I got to a point where I allowed myself that. I said, okay, during this time period, this is maybe going to be the case. And I decided to look at my next right move. The best I could do was to take a 30-minute walk once a week. But that gave me hope, and that was my next right move. And that was bouncing back from the place that I was at and acknowledging I'm going through this and it's going to end, but it's not going to end tomorrow. And that's how we find hope. And we can also lean on our lifeline relationships that we built through our giving skills and our leveraging skills, and lean on some of our best friends, potentially our husband. I certainly can lean on mine, whoever it is that you can lean on, who sort of has an outside perspective and can help you look at the brighter side or what might be forward ahead or encourage you. That's what you want to do during those periods. But those are periods of our life that happen. They're phases that happen. And overall, what we want to do is lean on our ability to bounce back from adversity, because we all want success and happiness. We want to be able to do the work we love. We want to be able to advance to the level we would like. We want to feel confident in that. And we want to get over missteps and failures, which are a natural part of the process, as quickly as possible, because that is a characteristic of success. And women are hardwired to do it. You're hardwired to do it. So be heartened that you can and will bounce back from adversity. Okay? So I hope that was helpful for you today. I want to let you know I'm giving away free copies of this book. If you're just checking in on this video, I let you know that this is a book that was written by 20 successful women just for you. I just finished reading the whole thing myself, and my goodness, women were so honest and so forthright about their struggles and paths to success in this book. I highly, highly recommend it. 20 different chapters. Each one's a different read and a different topic that you will greatly benefit from. And they are all topics that resonate with women, our struggles, our skill sets, our talents, and how to succeed. So website, realwomenrealsuccess.com. You can pick up a free copy just for the cost of shipping, and I hope you'll do that. If you're not already part of my VIP Besties E-Club, please look at the link down below, and I welcome you to get these master trainings and videos each and every week. And if you haven't visited the website and poked around, please do. There's some funny stuff on there. The lighter side is a place where we can go to laugh a little bit together. And I hope that was helpful for you, and I hope you go out there and have a great week. I look forward to talking to you next week. And always remember, I'm your biggest fan.